Okay, so as our panel gets settled, I'll just give you the lay of the land, the rest of the agenda for the afternoon. We're going to have this panel on programs. After this, you get your first snack break. We have food coming in from Chula, which was founded by a Carnegie Mellon alum. We will then break into our club sessions. You're going to hear from our incredible clubs who do a tremendous amount to build this ecosystem. And then we'll hear from Sankalp, who's going to tell us about his journey building one of our most phenomenal startups, Gather AI. And then you'll head down to Project Olympus on Craig for waffles, for smashed waffles. Yeah. All right. Let's go down the line. We want to hear from you all about the programs you participate in. Tell us about, obviously, yourselves, your startup, and the programs that have been impactful to you as you build. Okay? Who wants to start? Len wants to start.
I have the microphone. Faster.
Then you should start.
So the thing is, I think I'm the outlier here because, as Meredith just said, tell us about your startup, et cetera, et cetera. I do have a startup. It's Smash Waffles down here in Oakland. So would be happy to have you all down. You'll get to taste these later on this afternoon. So I am, I guess, part of the startup thing. But really, what I do is I teach entrepreneurship through acquisitions. And it starts as Entrepreneurship Alternatives. That's a class because we're at Carnegie Mellon. Everybody thinks of Carnegie Mellon for what their heritage is, startups, high tech, all that exciting stuff. But there's an alternative to that. The two alternatives is to buy a business that's already going, or number two, buy a franchise, which is a business platform that you can just replicate and grow from there. The big advantage to buying a business is two things. Number one, I have zero creativity in me at all, so I don't know what is the next best thing other than waffles. Outside of that, I don't know anything. So this is a great opportunity. You know, I have bought 4 or 5 businesses over my career. I started here at what was then GSIA, Graduate School of Industrial Administration. The person back in that corner, not the one standing, but the one standing in front of the Dawn Jones Center for Entrepreneurial Studies. Dawn Jones was the person who told me about this idea of buying a business. The second thing, and then I'll pass this along, is that, you know, if you buy a business, you immediately have cash flow, which means that you don't have to live in your parents' basement, you don't have to eat peanut butter sandwiches every day, and you don't have to wait 5 years before you get your first sale. So not picking on startups, I think you all can do a very good job at that, but it's just one of those advantages that we have. I teach 3 classes here: Entrepreneurship Through Acquisitions, Entrepreneurship Through Acquisition Workshop, and Entrepreneurship Alternatives.
Great. Thank you.
I too really like waffles, and I don't mind eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich every day, by choice. Hi, everyone. My name's Varsha. I am the entrepreneurial lead for Woodwide AI. We're a CMU machine learning department spin out, and we work very closely with the Center for Tech Transfer, but also we are homed at the Swartz Center. And we've been very fortunate to participate in a number of the Swartz Center and actually CS programs as well. So we worked with Melanie very closely at Project Olympus. Thank you, Melanie. She put us on the right path, and we've gone through the NSF Regional I-Corps, doing a lot of customer discovery through that program. We've also participated, we are currently in Venture Bridge, CMU Venture Bridge, and we have a presence here in the Swartz Center. So there are really a lot of great resources that are available to students and faculty as well. So definitely reach out, and if there's anything we can share about our journey, we'll be happy to. But I think my biggest takeaway has been you can never do enough customer discovery, so just keep doing all the customer discovery programs and you'll get a customer.
Hi again. I did a horrible job introducing myself the first time. You very rarely get two chances, but today I'm very lucky. My name is Mitch Fogelson. I did my PhD at Carnegie Mellon in mechanical engineering, and I worked on these deployable structures. I always bring a bag of toys, and here I can even pass some around. Of course, this is the only way that people listen to me. And at first, we thought we were going to sell these deployable structures for cell towers that could fit in a backpack or extension bridges for defense and disaster relief. And through the Swartz Center, we did all of the programs. We started at Project Olympus. We then went through the Innovation Commercialization Fellows. We've done the McGinnis competition. We've worked with we applied to Venture Bridge. And throughout that whole time, we kept trying to figure out and iterate on, whether our devices which offer 10 times the stowing efficiency and 10 times the mechanical stiffness as, 100 times the mechanical stiffness as other competitors, that this was going to be our baby. And after, 200 customer discovery interviews, we realized actually this is not where the problem is. This is some technology that people would like to have, but they don't need to have it. And actually the value came from our simulation tools, modeling these complex mechanisms, understanding how manufacturing these systems actually leads to inaccuracies in our idealized simulations. So we're trying to build, a quote I always like to say is simulation is doomed to succeed. Of course, in the virtual world, everything works as we want, but in the real world is where we need our systems to work. And so Beyond Reach Labs is actually building simulation and digital twin tools to help accelerate and really realize the physical problems of designing and manufacturing these systems. So yeah, I'd love to talk more about all of this, but I'll pass it on.
Dang, now I wish I brought some giveaways. Hi, everyone. So my name is Wale Idu. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Toys Electronics. I'm here actually to talk about the startup garages here. In short, I tell people our product is answering a question of how could you get a neurodivergent child from inner city DC to Carnegie Mellon at 15, at the same time pitching in front of Peter Thiel as a Thiel Fellow finalist. Then you get this kid to graduate in electrical and computer engineering from CMU with 2 minors in business, work at 2 Fortune 500 companies by the time he's 21, and have a venture-backed startup, which has been featured on the cover of Pittsburgh Tech Council's magazine, and you could probably see the magazine over there on the staff side. So that's what my dad did with me. We're a father-son team, and our product is we use gamification and AI to train every single student like you, everyone here. How do we use those tools to help you reach your career, research, or entrepreneurial goals? So here to share about a lot of the resources here, especially having a garage, having a space to work into. Some of y'all have probably seen my garage, the writing on the wall. Someone said it's like a beautiful mind, which is funny because he's also a CMU alum, But just the opportunity of being in this space, and I know several of my panelists and the last one also mentioned about the full opportunities here. So definitely here to share about why you definitely want to be here.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Vasha, and I'm here from Project Olympus. So I'm the CEO, founder of Allovision. Graduated from CMU, and when I was a student, just like a lot of you here, I was part of Hack a Startup, and then we also did McGinnis. So rode those 2 rides, and then finally when I decided to step up and, start a company, we were like, okay, let's do this. And Project Olympus was, I would say, one of the integral cogs in our machine, which is customer discovery. So we did the customer discovery for Alavision through them. We spoke to a lot of folks, and then we were like, okay, you know what, let's do direct to customer. And then somewhere along the way, we realized, okay, maybe the opportunity is not as big as we thought. And then we came back, and then we actually did the NSFI COP through Olympus again, with both Melanie as well as Meredith guiding us. And then that kind of helped us change our trajectory towards a B2B direction. So yes, you might start off at one particular point, you guys would talk to us, a whole bunch of consumers. And then you could get a lot of things verified as like, hey, this is something I would be interested in buying, things like that. But again, customer discovery never ends. And when you go to sell, when you go to market, when you go to, get your pricing ready, all of those parts also have a certain level of customer discovery incorporated in it. And it's almost like a vicious cycle throughout your entire journey. Happy to talk more about both Project Olympus, what the Swartz Center has to offer, as well as our amazing EIR, who's also here, Leah. So yeah, all of them have been super, super helpful to us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Irene, and it is honestly such an honor to be part of this panel along with these amazing people because I am actually still a student. I'm a master's student studying integrated innovation for products and services. And I actually graduated about a year ago, actually. And I came in with a really strong interest in entrepreneurship. And when I found out about the Swartz Center, I guess the first real activity that I participated in was Hack a Startup, which is one of the Swartz Center's very, first. Yeah, it's earlier on in the semester. And I also participated in McGinnis. And after those two experiences, a lot of people have mentioned so far, I discovered the importance of customer discovery. And I developed a really big interest in customer discovery and decided to apply to the CSL Fellowship. It's a fellowship organized by the Corporate Startup Lab. And throughout those experiences, I feel like I've learned a lot about basically how entrepreneurship goes on in a bigger organization. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about CSL or any competition hosted by the Swartz Center. Thank you.
Hi again. My name is Ashwini. You'll hear from me one more time and then I'm gonna, keep quiet. Any Swartz fellows in the room that are applying for this year? Any applications? 1, 2, 3?
There should be a lot of hands.
Okay, hopefully after this, we're going to have the whole room raising their hand. So I'm in this panel, I'm talking about the Swartz Fellowship. I would highly recommend this fellowship because it's just such a great way to stay integrated to the Swartz community. What happens is you send in your application. It's a very competitive pool. 12 people get picked as the Swartz Fellows every year. And it's not specific to any school. So I'm in the Tepper School of Business, but the rest of the Swartz Fellows were from other schools. And that's a great way to meet people who are similar-minded, want to build companies. After that, there's going to be an inauguration ceremony. You will be indicted into the community. It literally is a ceremony. Once that's done, every Fridays, Sonia, who's the program manager, she's amazing, puts together pro seminars. So you come in and you have the opportunity to be in a room with a founder or a VC, and there's just 12 of you, and you have 1 hour of their time, and you can ask them your personal questions related to just your company and make those connections one-on-one. They remember who you are. Somewhere next year in January, there is a trek to Silicon Valley. That trek for me was really it changed a little bit of my brain chemistry because I thought that there's not enough money to fund for my company, but it made me realize there's enough money as long as you have a good product. And that was really helpful in my journey as an entrepreneur. Once you're back, the next cohort of Swartz Fellows come in, and there is connectivity between the previous years of Swartz Fellows and this year and the future years. We all believe in supporting each other. You're connected to a mentor who is a recent Swartz Fellow, and you can go look up everybody who was a Swartz Fellow before, and you can have them be your mentor, and Sonia will make that connection. So this is a really great way to advance yourself if you are interested in starting a company and taking that forward. So if anybody is a first year, I highly recommend getting in touch with the current Swartz Fellows and applying as soon as possible. It's rolling admission, so do not delay, do it. I think it's a good bet to take. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Avalon Suero. I am a senior studying business and computer science. I'm an undergrad. I am also an innovation scholar, which is what I'm here to talk about today. That is the undergraduate program. That is the equivalent of the Swartz Fellows. So we also go on the trek in January. We're also paired with a mentor. We have weekly seminars with entrepreneurs. And yeah, it's a great time. You get to learn a lot and be in contact with some really cool people. And I'm also working on a startup. I'm working in political tech, trying to optimize polling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Evelyn Davenport, and I'm the founder and CEO of Piano Cam. So I just graduated with my master's in piano performance from the School of Music in May. And throughout my master's, I was working on Piano Cam, which is a hybrid piano and audio-visual recording system. So it has cameras and microphones built in that if somebody wanted to play online or have an online lesson, they could just plug in their iPad and go. And Piano Cam kind of started because very kind of quickly, the music world has been moving towards online performances, auditions. I actually auditioned for CMU entirely online. And what I realized was that it's really hard to get information on how to put ourselves out online because we don't have a tech background, at all. And so I had started Piano Cam 2 years ago and found in CFA that it was kind of hard to get funding, and I thought I needed to start with funding. And somebody recommended that I reach out to Project Olympus with the Customer Discovery Program. And so I just completed that in the spring. I was part of the spring cohort, and I found that it really helped kind of reorient myself towards problem solving rather than just trying to collect equipment and kind of make piano sound better. And so through customer discovery, I was able to really reach out to, I think, different customer segments that I wouldn't have thought of before. So this included little kids that were learning piano, adults that had left piano, and then especially institutional music schools that had teachers. And so for a few months, I was able to really kind of gain the perspectives of what other people were struggling with, because I knew what I was struggling with in terms of making piano sound good, but I wanted to see if other people had that same problem. And so through that, I was able to do about 40 customer interviews. And some of that research also included going to the CMU library and looking through the databases to see kind of what the trends are in terms of tech funding for music programs. Which is not something I would have considered if it wasn't through the EIR help. And now I was able to use that knowledge to really gain one-on-one perspectives with my customer base. And as of last week, I have 2 units that have been ordered, which is really nice. Yeah. Thank you. And honestly, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't through my customer discovery. You'll learn if you take the program that it's a pretty nuanced kind of skill, because it's a conversation where you're looking for an answer where somebody says, this is my problem, but you want it to come naturally. And it takes a lot of restraint to not tell them, do you have this problem? And just hope that they come to that agreement. And there will be a lot of people that kind of don't read your mind. And then there will be others that seem to be exactly on the line of the problem that you're trying to solve. And once you find those people and keep finding those people, then it's a really gratifying experience. So after I finish customer discovery, I still have an office space in Project Olympus, so I'm doing my prototyping. And yeah, I'm working there full time. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Abhishek. I'm from India. I'm a second year grad student in the MS in AI program over here. As soon as I came in, I kind of knew that I want to do my own thing. And when I talked around, I heard that Swartz was the place to be if that's what you want. Coming in, I missed out on the initial Swartz Fellow program, but then the thing right after that was Hack a Startup. Put together a team of really cool people, and then we actually ended up taking that company forward. And we actually took up the course called AI Venture Studio, and we're in a place where we're pitching to VCs at this point. So Swartz offers you the opportunities and the mentorship to actually do your own thing if you want to. Coming around that, the path that I kind of realized doing this was, it's easy to do the tech, but as every single person on this panel has said, customer discovery is difficult. And I'm representing the CSL project course at this point where I got to work directly with the founder of Reveal.ai and in the process of customer discovery. And it kind of gives you perspective, kind of pushes you to actually go out there, talk to people. And initially, I used to be an introvert as well. So I think that being on this panel, there's a certain level of anxiety inside me. I don't know if it's showing. But it really pushes you to go out there, put yourself out there, and I don't know, have that sales mentality as well in your head. So I think that it's something that you should take up. Coming up, I guess, would be Hack a Startup. Then there would be McGuinness. The CSL courses, I think, open as well as CSL fellows. Take up opportunities when they come your way and figure it out later. That's what I'd say. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, give them your program questions. Questions on programs.
There's one in the middle.
Make yourself tall. There you go.
Hello. Hi.
Okay, hi. My name is Aisha. I'm a master's student interested in the Swartz Fellowship. And I was wondering in terms of like the beginning stages of that fellowship, like is it more like the mentorship?
Oh, hello.
Okay. The mentorship, how are you able to like interact with mentors or advisors during that time?
Are you a bachelor student or a master's student? Master's.
Yes.
Okay. That's a great question. I think that there's no dearth of mentors in the Swartz Center. Anybody that you speak to will connect you to other people that can help you. But the Swartz Center just gives you a lot of credibility and everybody knows you. So if you look up on the Swartz Center website, you can see a list of all of the Swartz fellows in the previous years. And if you look them up and then you approach them and say, hey, I'm a current Swartz fellow and I'm really interested in doing what you're doing, it immediately puts you like on top of the list. But also if you're having a tough time connecting with them, they are people who are closely in touch with Sonia and Dave and Meredith. So you could potentially ask them to connect you to them as well. There's no I guess like structured mentorship program associated with the Swartz Fellowship, but it definitely opens up huge doors for you to be able to connect to everybody else.
And I'll just layer in, we have approximately 700 mentors that are listed on the Swartz and Olympus pages. These are all CMU alums or friends of the university who have committed to, if a Carnegie Mellon person reaches out to them, to responding and having a conversation. Okay, another program question?
Hello, my name is Ryan Hyatt, and I was curious about your customer discovery programs and kind of like what they do for you and how they like guide you through that process.
Yeah, they are the best way to realize that the entrepreneurship path is falling in love with the problem and not in love with your solution. Especially when you come from like a PhD or something like that, where you have a technology you've developed, you've shown in the lab how much better it is. All you want to do is throw that hammer at whatever nails, but you really get to learn about all the aspects of the customer, who the end user is, who's the person that's going to procure it, what's their budget, are they willing to spend money on this problem, and is your solution the right solution? The end of the day, we're trying to solve problems, not necessarily throw our solution at the world and hope that it sticks. And that customer discovery through Project Olympus, and then there's some more structured ones through the I-Core program. And the National I-Core program actually gives you $50,000 to travel to conferences and procure different objects so that you can accelerate your customer discovery as much as possible.
Okay, one more question.
Sorry, I was just going to add on to that because, essentially, like Mitch said, the whole point of customer discovery is finding that fit, making sure that what you actually find someone who wants what you're building, right, and who has that problem. And to that end, the National I-Core is a really great structured program that does that. There's also a regional I-Core that I think is kicking off soon.
Yeah, in just a couple weeks.
And customer discovery is never ending. I think, like someone else said, really just keep doing it. And one program kind of builds on the other, but they're all different programs. So you can get lots of different depths of experience and training. It's like building any muscle.
Great. One last question for this session.
Could I just add one more thing to that? Too?
Absolutely. Sorry, Evelyn.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
In case you were wondering, like, what it's like just to go through customer discovery and not the I-Core program, essentially, once you're in a cohort, you meet once a month. You get to choose like the Zoom meeting that you attend. There's a couple onboarding things in terms of how to do customer discovery. But then to attend each new meeting, you essentially have to double the amount of interviews that you've done. And so the speed is kind of up to you, but also kind of moves against you past a certain point. And so you might find that like within your semester cohort that the workload kind of gets like crazy with how many interviews you have to do if you want to make the next meeting. But there's so many people to help. You usually have a designated EIR that you can contact at any time. And then in the meetings, you're kind of put into like great breakout groups where you get to talk with other companies and then get feedback from all of the EIRs. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was going to say, actually, on customer discovery, even in our pitch, we say we started with NSF I-Core back in 2020. 12 out of 10 would always recommend, especially as being an engineer, we very much get into like, well, this is the solution. So I fully agree with that. But if you're not solving someone's problem, no one's going to care, right? I think from actually talking to different sectors too, because there might not be just one customer in this case. There might be different cohorts. So for us, like it could be college admissions, it could be corporations with recruiting, it could be their CSR, it could be a lot of different myriads, and it will actually help you kind of refine and kind of find your own pinpoint in there as well. And kind of find your niche to that. And also understanding the difference between users and customers as well, which is also a different thing, because if a lot of people are using it, that's great, but are you making revenue, or are you at least showing signals? You know, you have an idea to that. So definitely recommend it. Is Melanie still here?
I think she's outside.
Oh, but yeah, incredible program. Love it.
Cool. Got another one.
Hi, my name is Sophia Giuliani. Thank you very much for coming to speak with us. I have a question. I'm a first-year PhD student. I have a question for how you have balanced your academic program of like being in academia, but also like wanting to be an entrepreneur, and how you've integrated life. Thank you.
I think that might only be to me. So I started my company during the end of my third year of my PhD. So it was like a year and a half, or maybe the halfway through my fourth year of my PhD. I came into the PhD program knowing that I was hoping to start a company. This is, why I came back to do the PhD. And I was very supported by all of my academic advisor. I was very transparent about, my goals and ambitions with them. And I think that was, incredibly helpful. You do constantly have to balance it. The business mind and the research mind move at different speeds, and sometimes it's much easier to send out emails and follow up with customers and do interviews than it is to think deeply on a problem. But I think you find your groove and how that balance takes shape. But make sure that you remember that you're here and you need to graduate and get that PhD, because that tough work and long efforts is definitely worth it. And your company might fail, and mine will definitely probably might fail in the future, but you'll always have your PhD.
Mitch.
No, I'm just kidding. But 99%, right? There's some statistics, but you want to make sure you get your degree and you're successful with that, because every entrepreneur is always a serial entrepreneur. You're always going to be starting more and more opportunities, and so balancing both of those opportunities is really important and not easy, but I'm sure you'll figure it out successfully.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure if there's many undergrads, but I actually did start. We officially started when I was an undergrad, back in Project Olympus and at the start of the Swartz Center, not to date myself. But I would say definitely in your journey, you really want to make sure in your academia, you find ways to integrate what you have to do with your startup into the academia. That's kind of what I did. Back then, we were looking more into hardware, and then we pivoted. So, I did research trying to understand different components of what I wanted to build, trying to understand the concepts. I think that's one of the best ways to do it. For us, doing engineering, and even finding any other support systems. CMU has so many resources to support you. As long as you manage your time right, it's probably one of the biggest things I could tell everyone. Time management is probably one of the major keys here. You'll be able to balance both and even get support. So when we were pivoting to doing hackathons as a way to train people, because we saw how people like their hardware and started to learn, I got support from my department and ECE and IDA to sponsor the hackathons and other events I would do. So I definitely think finding ways to integrate what you're already doing as a part of that, it definitely deals with multiple different mindsets, but finding that balance, time management, and then learning how to integrate that with what you're working on, you'll get a lot of support. And even I know for EC, and they probably even have this maybe for other departments, they do have entrepreneurial support for some students. EC has James Bain, and I've definitely taken a lot of entrepreneurship classes. Some people who were my professors here. So definitely finding that balance will help.
Yeah, if I could just add, I totally get where you're coming from, because I was a master's piano student, professional musician, and then I had this on top of that. And I'm not sure about the PhD level, but especially kind of in the music academic scene, the stress load kind of comes in waves depending on when people are performing and when I had to perform. And yet the demand for customer discovery was pretty constant. And so, yeah, it was a challenge to try and kind of prioritize what I was working on, because both of them were long-term kind of projects that didn't come around right away. One of the ways that really helped me kind of focus and prepare myself for when I graduated was really utilizing my electives, and not just with entrepreneurship classes, but especially in skills that I was missing. So I took a lot of ID8 classes where I was able to use PianoCam as a project, but still work on it individually and not have to commit, beyond the scope of the semester to developing whatever I was developing. And then, I was taking design classes and things that even if I wasn't using PianoCam, the principles and skills that I was learning in those classes, I was able to reflect on and incorporate into solving problems for my customers. I can say now that I'm not in a master's program, it is like way easier to focus on this. So yeah, I would just like plan out when, you know, your academic semesters are going to kind of balloon up, and then make sure that everything is okay. If that makes sense.
Great advice. Great advice. So, you know, you're juggling a lot as students. For those of you who are students, faculty as well. If you're a student, this is a beautiful little bubble to pressure test ideas and start to really think through alternative life paths, because you come here to learn things, you know, information that's useful. But more importantly, you're deciding who you're going to be and what you're going to do with your life. So you might as well use the limited number of years you're here to really explore as expansively as possible. And we hope entrepreneurship is a part of that. You can't double up as an entrepreneur forever. At some point, you've got to decide you're taking the full dive. But you can do it for a while as a student. And we have 500 startups a year that are student founded that work with the Swartz Center and Project Olympus that make that decision and do it. So we know it's possible. Okay. Let's give our panel a huge round of applause.